Finally, the live stream is all good. I hope you guys can hear me clearly. Hi, Murshid from Sri Lanka. How you doing, buddy? So today's episode's gonna be a little bit about living in Dubai. So I have a bunch of questions that people keep asking me. So the plan was to go through some of those videos where I do some episodes of living in Dubai and try to cover as many of those questions as possible. So if you guys don't know, I do a series called Living in Dubai, probably one of my most popular series. And we get a lot of comments on there, different kinds of stuff, and I don't have time to respond to everybody individually. So I thought, doing this live stream thing would be easier. Hi guys, everybody who's jumping on the chat right now. Niranjan, Aniket, Karthik. So that's the plan today, unless you guys want to talk about something else. But that's what I thought I would do as a topic for this live stream. So, hold up. Let me just set some stuff up. So this comes from Dubai. Hey, buddy. Hey, Dharia Chopra Wines. Guys, you should check out his channel if you get some time. He does some pretty cool stuff. He's also a YouTuber and a wine creator. Sorry, guys. Just having some technical difficulties here. This one. Okay. So I'm hoping you guys can see everything now pretty clearly. I've got my chat window open and my YouTube comments. So we're going to go over some live comments that I get on the Living in Dubai channel. And of course, if you guys have any comments or want to know anything in particular, I'll try to answer to the best of my ability. So I'm just going to go to my playlist. So yeah, in case you guys don't know, I have playlists set up. So for most of the topics I cover, so there's 3 real topics that I cover, which are living in Dubai, tech, and then cars mostly, and lifestyle videos. But so all the living in Dubai videos are kind of in one playlist, so you guys can go check that out. And it's this playlist over here. So this was the last video I did, which did pretty well. It's about how much people earn in Dubai. Now the information that I got from this video was from a Gulf News article, which I linked up in the video itself. But there were some other industries I think that people were asking about, and that's a very popular question that I get: how much can you earn in Dubai? So I would recommend, if you're interested to know that, then you should go check out this video. But let me just look at the chat real quick. Inderpal Singh, speak on. Do you vape? Yeah, occasionally I vape. I've got my vape right here. Everything's clear. Okay, great. You guys can hear me. Everything's all good. Okay. How did you know I vape, though? Did you guess? Can you see it in the frame? No, you can't. So, okay, in their poll saying, please come to the point. So, what exactly is the point that you want me to make? This is just a general live conversation. It's trying to answer your questions about living in Dubai in real time. So, the questions can be really varied. People ask me all kinds of different things. So, People ask me questions like, how much do people make in resource management in Dubai? I can't answer those kinds of questions, because it's hard. I'm not in the industry, so I don't know. But yeah, more generic questions I can try and answer. So we're going to just go through that pretty quickly. And if you guys have any questions in the live stream, we'll try to answer those questions as well. Uh, so So in this video, I spoke mostly about mid-level to high-level jobs. Those are the type of salaries that I was talking about. A lot of people commented and said that the salary structure that I mentioned was really high. And that's true because it's meant for professionals looking to move to Dubai and not blue collar workers or uneducated workers. We're talking about like people who have a degree, who have a few years of experience. Those are the kind of salaries that they can expect. By the way, can you guys hear Zoe snoring in the background? Zoe, stop snoring. Yeah. So yeah, let me try and find some other questions. How about job opportunities for Indians who did masters from Europe? Job opportunities are good if you have a foreign degree. It definitely helps. I think people might look at you a little differently, but it more depends on your experience. I think, especially when you're looking at a more senior level job, your degree kind of matters a little less in that situation. I need a job in Dubai. I've done a bachelor's in business and master's in public administration. I don't know what that is. I've done a couple of internships in HR and marketing. My language skills and computer knowledge is good. How much salary can I expect as a fresher? Those kind of questions are really hard to answer. Like, what you can expect as a fresher really depends on what kind of job you're doing. I don't know what public administration is, but if you're doing like general admin work, it depends on which kind of company you get employed in. If you're in a multinational, you might make a better income. Maybe you'll start at like 5 or 6. If you're in a private company, maybe 3 or 4. It all depends on what kind of opportunity you get. What about bonus? Does this include bonus in other sectors? No. In this video, when I was talking about the salaries, did not include bonus. Bonus is separate. Not every company in Dubai pays bonus, but a lot of companies do pay bonus, and there's other perks that you might get on top of the jobs that you might get in Dubai. So there's, you might get plane tickets, or you might get discounts in certain stores, and you might get employee benefits. So those all weren't included in this video. I'll be coming in the next weeks, and I'm an Android engineer. What kind of salary can I expect? I was offered 4.5k per month. 4.5k is not a bad salary in Dubai, but as I mentioned in some of my previous videos, it is a little. It's going to be a bit of a struggle to live on that kind of salary in Dubai, because accommodation is expensive, living expenses are expensive. So you'd have to share an apartment with somebody, maybe get a bed space, and you'd have to live pretty conservatively, but you could have a pretty good life in Dubai, earning that kind of salary as well. I know lots of people who do it as well, especially people fresh out of college. Hi, Varun Kumar said, "Hi Sid, sir, my favorite series in the episode. My dream is to settle in Dubai one day." I mean, Dubai has its pros and cons. Definitely good income compared to a place like India. You're definitely going to be making more money, but there's also more expense. But quality of life is pretty good in Dubai, I must admit. Okay, let me just look at the live chat real quick. So people Can I get a shout out, Vishal? Yeah, sure, bro. Shout out to Vishal Kriplani. Um, One sec. I need to figure out a better way to sort out my comments and everything on the. Somebody was asking about how much they can expect to pay for a 3 to 4 bedroom villa in Arabian Ranches. That is going to be depending. Rents have come down a little bit in Dubai actually, so you can get a decent villa for about 120, 130. If it's a townhouse kind of thing. If it's a independent villa, maybe 150. But rents are pretty down right now. In which line you are perfect? So question can be asked on that only. Well, I'm a IT person. I'm a technology person. So I know pretty much the technology field. I run a startup. So we have employees for that. But general administrative, customer support, customer service desk, those kind of employees. That's what I know about. Maybe marketing and advertising space, I know a little bit. And I know I have a general idea, but I can't be very specific about very niche occupations. What is the outlook in Dubai Expo 2020? What is the current job scene in Dubai? Outlook for 2020, I mean, I'm not sure what people are really expecting to happen at 2020. It's, it's there's definitely infrastructure that's being built in order to accommodate more tourists for Expo 2020. And the government is prepping and investing to so Expo 2020 is this event that happens in Dubai. In case you don't know, Dubai won it this year. It's supposed to be one of the biggest expos in the world. Previously, huge announcements have been made. It's just going to increase the number of visitors, and the amount of time that the expo takes place is about 6 months. So you're going to have almost a year. 6 months prior to Expo 2020, you're going to have an influx of visitors coming in to gauge the market. You're going to have like 6 months of visitors coming in for different events and things like that. So they do expect a increase in visitors coming to Dubai. How it directly affects the economy is yet to be seen. I mean, there is a lot of work that's happening right now in preparation for that. And what happens after Expo 2020 gets over is also to be seen. So I don't really want to comment about what I think will happen over there. But as Ajarkar, as a company, we are prepping for Expo 2020 to be a big year for us, a big boost. So we're in business because we're expecting more visitors. If you guys don't know, Ajarkar is a car rental business. We're also getting into the limousine business, which is basically chauffeur-driven cars. So, most of our target market is tourists. So we are expecting more business to come during 2020. Want to listen some Pune incidents in Marathi? I don't know what you're talking about, bro. Copy pasted again. Well, my question is how good the internet city is for IT related startups. Is there any help from UAE government such as funding? Yes. So Internet City is a good option if you're a startup because you will be around other companies that are potentially startups as well. There are incubators there. So in case you're looking to start a company but you don't want to rent out a full office, you can rent out desk space, you can share out shared workspaces. Some of these incubators will provide you with, an office and visas and all that in return for a small amount of equity in your company. Some of them operate just on a rental basis. You are surrounded by other startups, which is a good thing. Internet City is not the only place that you have this. You have this in other places as well, like Silicon Oasis. There's other places in Dubai. In Al Quoz, there's 360. There's a place in downtown. So there's many options if you're a tech startup in Dubai to facilitate yourself. And as much And about UAE government funding, yes, there are government funded projects for sure, but I wouldn't count on government funding if you're looking to raise money for your business. It's just one potential source of raising money. There's the VC culture in Dubai is growing, and there are quite a few angel investors as well. So if your idea is good and if you have traction, you will get funding. You can potentially get funding. Which class is clicky and aggressive, which is what Abhishek is asking, ironically, obviously. Nothing much expected in 2020. Hey, can you give insights of your first startup? The first business I started was actually in Pune. It was a video game arcade where it was called the PlayStation. I know that was completely not copyright. It wasn't. It wasn't very. I know that I knew that the PlayStation wasn't in India as yet, and I wanted to call it the PlayStation because people would understand what it was. But looking back, it was probably not the smartest thing to do. But anyway, it was called the PlayStation, and we had like booths where you could rent a booth out for an hour and with a PlayStation and get a game of your choice to play. So we made it like an hourly thing, and at that time, video games were very expensive to get in India. Like you wouldn't be able, like buying a console was expensive. TVs were expensive. We had like big 29-inch, 30-inch TVs at that time. They were big. And we had PlayStations and a huge selection of games. And we had a funky layout, and we had like food and drinks and everything. So we did extremely well. Like we were making lakhs in revenue at that time. I'm talking about like 16 years ago. But yeah, that was my first business since somebody asked. India ka bana hai. I'm probably coming in December. How bad is Dubai economy now? Dubai economy is not at its strongest point, that's for sure. Oh, what happened to my video? Sorry guys, hold on one second. There we go. It is, every economy goes through ups and downs. So right now, Dubai is going through a bit of a low phase, which is causing rents to come down. And but I mean, it's not hugely impacted business over here. It depends on which field you're in. Certain businesses like trading and stuff are more heavily affected. Banks have slightly become a bit more conservative when it comes to lending money, which obviously affects businesses again. But yeah, I think we're going through a down phase right now, but in the next 6 months, you should start seeing that coming back up again. And especially, December time till about March is the best tourist season in Dubai, which is when, you should start seeing retail and stuff going up again. MWBS text, I didn't see a question. In their posting says, "Sir, sorry to write. At least I'm not convinced at all." I'm sorry, you're not convinced about what, bro? Alex Kema, hey buddy. Rohit Chakraborty, hey, I'm studying in IMT Dubai, located in Dubai International Academic City. How to invite you for college festival? What kind of college festival are you guys doing? That sounds interesting, actually. What do you study? Mushid Ahmed says thank you. Anish says hello. What's your income? Bro, that's a very private question to ask. I'm not going to answer that question in this podcast. I mean, in this live stream. Mr. Alexa, I want to shift to Dubai, and what do you think should a person look for? A apartment or villa, have budget of 3 BHK in both JBR or Al Barsha area? I mean, it depends on your preference, bro. I mean, I think most of the villas are a little bit outside the city. So if you don't mind commuting, if you want a bit more peace and quiet, villas are nice. These days, you can get a pretty nice villa in Jumeirah for what you'd have to pay, to be a little bit more outside the city. So if you have the budget, there's some nice villas near Jumeirah. I enjoy apartment life, so I like being like in the center of things, in the middle of the city. So it really depends on what you prefer. Um, योगेश असनोरा says और कैसे हो पाजी ठीक हो भाई Sheikh Mohammed Avi says hi. Arun Bhaiya, hi Siddharth, I'm also based out of Dubai. I have a channel on which I do film reviews. Can we please do a collaboration? I have very few subscribers. What kind of film reviews do you do, bro? I'll check out your channel. Urban Bhaiya. I'm guessing, is it Hindi reviews? Murshid Ahmed says, how did you start a jar car? Explain about the idea. How did you find investors in Dubai? How did I start a jar car? I think I'm going to do a separate vlog about how I started a jar car, but I always had an interest in cars. So, that's my passion. That's what I do on my YouTube channel. I talk about technology and I talk about cars and I talk about Dubai. So those three passions of mine came together to, like, I wanted to do something with cars. I knew that I realized there's lots of car rental companies in Dubai. And when I myself was looking to rent a car, I realized how much of a hassle it is to do it. There's so many options and prices, and you don't know which car to find where. And I was a car enthusiast, so I wanted to get these nicer cars, which aren't available everywhere. So, and prices were highly fluctuating. Nobody was giving me real pricing online. I wanted to just book it online. And I realized that it was a lot more hassle than it needed to be. So that's why I thought of starting this. Also, I also know that the manufacturers make a decent enough margin. Not the manufacturers. I mean, there are car rental companies make a decent margin on the transaction. So I knew that there was scope over there. I know that Dubai is a highly tourist-centric city, so I knew that there's going to be a lot of footfall and people needing cars on a temporary basis. So that was another thing, another factor that made me think that this might be a good idea or a good business to get into. And I get access to lots of cool cars, so it's a good business for me. Where starts with where is your apartment? I don't really want to mention where I stay exactly in Dubai, but I stay in the Business Bay area, which is very close to downtown. Karthik, Nalwad, I understand. I mean, you can share your income and figures. Sorry, bro, I don't really want to talk about my income. Rohit Chakrabarti, studying MBA here, Management plus Cultural Festival. Okay, Management plus Cultural Festival. All colleges are invited to participate in various competitions. Bro, reach out to me. I have an email address called siddharthvlog@gmail.com. You can send me an email. Let me know what the event is about. And, if it's interesting, I'd be happy to drop by. Brian Riaz, I can just add that email address in the chat. And if you guys want to reach out, you can reach out to me over there if you want to work together or collaborate or do anything of that nature. Hold on one second. My internet's super slow. I guess it's because I'm streaming. Yeah, I kind of find it strange that people ask me how much money I make. I mean, it's a pretty personal question. Like, I don't think it's. First of all, it's a personal question. Secondly, I'm running a business where some of that information might be sensitive to my business. So, you know, uh, I might have investors on board, or I might have people like who I don't want to, divulge exactly how much money I make. So I hope you guys understand. Uh, okay. Um, why don't you make podcast videos and post it on this channel? So I was thinking about doing that. So in case you guys don't know, I have a podcast that me and Mamta do called Startup Hustle Middle East, and it's all about starting a business in Dubai and some of our, some of the things we've learned by starting doing a startup in Dubai. Startups kind of function differently from regular businesses. So, you know, we've been doing it for about 2.5 years now. So we've learned a lot. We're trying to share our experience of building a startup in the Middle East. Nobody else is really doing a podcast about it. The reason we're doing a podcast is because it's slightly longer format. So it's about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. We get some other founders of different companies to come in and talk about their experience, some subject matter experts to come in and talk about that. It's a bit more serious, and I want the YouTube channel to be a little bit more fun. So that's why I don't really put up the podcast videos on this channel. I have some of them recorded as video, and I'm thinking of starting a separate channel for Startup Hustle Middle East, and just putting it up there. So if you guys want to listen, like watch the podcast instead of listen to it, then maybe I'll let me know, and I'll try and post those videos on YouTube. But if you guys want to listen to it right now, you can listen to it on Anchor.fm or any of the podcast networks. So if you're on Google, Android, there's a Google Podcast app. There's also the Apple Podcast app. You can go to either of those. Search for Startup Space, Hustle Space, Middle East, and you'll find our podcast. MWB Tech, I missed your question. I'm a very old subscriber of you since when I'm living in Dubai, but now living in Abu Dhabi. Can we meet? Bro, as I said, send me an email on that email address, Siddharth blog, privately, and we can discuss that. How the hell do I get the chat back? I need to learn to get better at this live streaming stuff. Can you guys hear Zoe snoring, by the way? She's like sleeping here right next to me. Like she's right there. Rahul Suresh said, did the crisis in Dubai affect Ajarka in any way? Bro, I think crisis is a really strong word to use. I don't think there's a crisis happening in Dubai. There is a bit of economic slump, I would say, but it's not a crisis. Things are functioning as normal. Yeah, Jarkar's probably had a little less. We've been affected slightly, but it's other factors as well. It's time of the year, number of tourists coming. Usually, our business is pretty driven by tourists. So from around now, October till March or April is a good season for us, and then the rest of the time is a little low because it's summer. We get less tourists. So that's the thing. But I wouldn't say in any drastic way Ajarkar has been affected. Maybe slight 5-10%. Um, do some experiment, buddy. BJ Day asks, I don't understand what you mean. How is VAT in Dubai? VAT in Dubai is a little. It has complicated accounting for everybody. It's 5%. If in case you guys don't know, it started at the beginning of this year. Any company that's earning more than 187,000 dirhams a year has to register for VAT, or has the option to register for VAT, and I think it's over 300,000 that you have to file VAT as well. But yeah, I mean, it's been challenging because we had to update all our systems to incorporate VAT. Before that, there was no taxation in Dubai. So, I mean, but apart from, it's also obviously increased cost of living a little bit. So everything is 5% more expensive apart from, say, rent or public transportation. Those things haven't been affected by VAT, but pretty much everything else is affected by VAT. All your grocery bills, yeah, anytime you go to a restaurant or buy anything, so it's become a little bit more expensive. But 5% is not too bad. It didn't hurt too bad, and it's kind of like off every transaction you do, so you don't feel it as much. But yeah, it has affected some businesses, particularly traders and stuff, who had very small margins to begin with, and they're less price competitive now because of that. Any plans to meet Emin anytime soon? Not really, bro, unless he's coming to Dubai. I don't know if he's coming to Dubai. He hasn't reached out to me yet, so I don't know. MWB text says I'm dropping email within 1 or 2 days. Please check. Yeah, bro, I check all my emails in Siddharth vlog. It's vlog@gmail.com. So if you guys want to reach out to me there, you can send me an email. Can't wait to watch Startup Hustle. So would you guys prefer watching the podcast than listening to it? I mean, I could post it on YouTube as well. We could do that pretty easily. Mohammed Karan, do you own a Ajarkar? Yes, I do. Yes, I do own a Ajarkar majority stake. Yes. Mr. Lex, a bit off topic, but do you talk about cars? Yes, I do talk about cars, bro. I have a lot of car videos up on this channel. I love my cars. When I'm planning to come to Dubai, notify you if possible to meet. All right, sure. Rahul Tucker, property rates are down now as many property owners are suffering now to resale or to rent out property. Any update on this? So, yes, property is down. I'd say the rates have gone down by about 20% or so over what it was, say, 2 years ago. And there's multiple factors to that. One is that as we were talking about before, the economy is slightly on the downward slope right now. But as I said, I think it should be coming back soon in the next few months as we come closer to 2020. Also, it's got to do with a lot of new projects coming on the market. So we've got lots of new projects coming up all the time. So investors are... Don't snort. So so property is it's a little hard to sell it right now. That's for sure. You're not getting the same rates as you were. Rents are down, but I think if you own property in a decent area, then you'd be less affected. But yeah, investors who have invested on the outskirts of Dubai and stuff might be feeling a bit of a pinch. Which is the best website for getting jobs in Dubai for an engineering experienced professional? So we did an episode of living in Dubai with my friend Jaya. She is a recruiter. So she works with many companies, places, lots of people. So it's this episode over here. It's called How to Get a Job in Dubai. And in this video, we have like a bunch of links to all the top job portals. So here you can see the top job portals over here. And those are the ones I'd look at first. Oops. Those are the ones I'd look at first when you're looking for online. Also look at recruiters who are specialized in engineering or civil or whatever you do, and that's probably a good way to reach out. Reach out to them on LinkedIn or something like that. Might help you out. Okay, looks like quite a few people want the podcast to be on YouTube, so we'll work on that. We'll work on making it on YouTube. Mohammed Karima's unlogic laws in Dubai. I don't get that. Did you meet Mo Vlogs? Yes, I've met Mo Vlogs. He's in one of my videos. It's called the video that I did for the opening of the YouTube studio in Dubai. He was in that. I've met him, but we're not friends or anything as yet. Karthik Nalwad says, yes, we do love watching Startup Hustle. All right, cool, man. I'll make sure that we start uploading to YouTube in our future episodes. We've already done about 8 or 9. I was just editing the previous, the next episode of the podcast. I don't get enough time to do it. We wanted to do one every week. Now we're like struggling to do one in a week, and then sometimes we post in 2 weeks. So. But we're trying to be consistent with that. We have lots of stuff to share, just not enough time to like edit it and make it sound good and all that. Which of the cars you own personally? I have a BMW 650 Grand Coupe, and I have a Audi A4. Do you recommend buying property right now because the rates are down? Karthik's asking. I think you will get a really good deal if you have the capacity to buy right now or maybe in the next few months, because I do see the property prices coming back, but you'd probably have to wait. I'd say if you're willing to buy property and hold on to it for at least 4 to 5 years, then it might be a smart decision to buy in the next 6 to 8 months. If you plan to flip it, don't buy it. If you plan to buy it and then sell it after 6 months or a year, that would be a terrible idea right now. If you want to hold on to it and rent it out for some time, use it yourself personally, keep it for 5 years, then it's not a bad idea at all. If you had a chance, which hypercar would you add in your company? Hypercar, I like the Lambos. We already have the Lambos on a jar car. I don't know, I'm trying to think. We already have most of the ones that I like. We've got the Ferraris, we've got the Lambos, we've got the McLarens. Maybe something even more exotic like a Bugatti or something. We don't have any of those. But I think there's only 1 or 2 Bugattis to rent in all of Dubai, and it's crazy expensive. It's like 35,000 dirhams a day or something. Any plans to India, maybe Delhi meetup? I'm going to be in Mumbai in December. That's my next plan to come to to India. And I'll let you guys know at least a week or 2 in advance if I'm going to Mumbai. But I'll try to do a meetup in Mumbai for sure. That should be fun. When I said unlogic, I mean getting into jail for many reasons and doing things that is considered illegal. You're not asking me a specific question, so I don't know what law you're talking about, but I think generally they're pretty fair. I wish they had better bankruptcy law where, if you're a business owner, the debt of the company is not, you're not liable as an individual for the debts of your company, which can be pretty hard to deal with, because if your company is unsuccessful, uh, and if you have outstanding debt, they will try to recover it from you. But as far as I know, UAE is looking to introduce bankruptcy law. I'm not sure if they've already implemented it or not. They might have already done it, so don't take my word on that. But yeah, other countries have bankruptcy law where if you're a business owner and for whatever reason you've got loans from the bank, or you have outstanding payments to other suppliers, you can declare bankruptcy, liquidate your company, sell off all your assets, pay back as many people as possible. But then that's it. You're not personally liable as an individual for what that company is doing. So, um, you know, I think that's a better way to do it. More people would feel safe to do more experimental kinds of businesses in Dubai. Mohammed Karamas, did you meet Sagan Yalchin, Rachel Chaudhary, and Natalia Itani? No, I have not. I've met Sagan. I haven't met Rashid or Natalia. Any plans to meet Technical Guruji? I'd love to meet him, man. But he's a very big YouTuber. I reached out to him, but I'm sure he must be getting thousands of emails every minute. So pretty hard to reach him. But yeah, I would love to meet him if I could. I always like to meet other creators whose stuff I like to watch. So, or who I think have a real, like, which is like, I think Technical Guruji has like some crazy insane amount of work ethic when it comes to his YouTube channel. He uploads every day, like sometimes twice a day, and he has 2 YouTube channels, and he like posts on them, on one twice a day, sometimes on his vlogging channel every day, every other day. So I don't know how he gets so much time to do so many videos every day. I guess that's his main and only job. Which area do I live in Dubai? I live in Business Bay. Let's look at some other questions from the comments. I'm going to wind this live stream up at 8 o'clock, so that's another 15 minutes or so. But yeah, so some people were asking me whether the wages mentioned in this video were monthly or yearly. So they were monthly numbers. So somebody said that this is completely false info. Don't believe this. I work in Dubai. People don't get such salaries here. Well, as I said, it is on the higher side, the salaries that I mentioned in this video. But it's definitely not crap. This is the list that came out in Gulf News, which is the largest paper in Dubai. And I think it's 10 to 15% higher, but it's pretty accurate if you're a experienced professional. Let's look at some other video I got lots of questions on, which is cost of living. So this question was, I live in NYC and I'm contemplating moving to Dubai. I saw some good neighborhoods, Palm Jumeirah Villas, Golf Views, Executive Tower, Plaza, Boutique Villas. I know you mentioned at the end that 15 to 20,000 dirhams is fine. but would 25K for a family of five be sufficient? I mean, apart from housing expenses, schooling expenses, car and driver, would 25K be enough to enjoy a good lifestyle with two young kids? So he's moving from NYC, so people's perspectives are very different. So so he's asking whether 25,000 dirhams a month, apart from your housing and driver and everything, would be sufficient. Yes, it's sufficient. If your kid's schooling, if you're sending your kid to a international school, like school fees can be really expensive in Dubai. You could be paying like 4 or 5 thousand dirhams a month per child. So like 50,000 dirhams a year, 60,000 dirhams a year. It gets really expensive. So if you want to send like three kids, that's like 150,000 dirhams just in school fees. Apart from that, you want to go out, have a good time, do leisure activities, spend time on the weekends, go out in nice places. 25,000 could be a little bit, less. If depends, it really depends on your lifestyle. So for some people that would be an amazing amount of money, and for some people it might be a little less, especially if you have a family. But I would say most people would be happy with that salary. You should be able to save a little bit and have a really good life here as well. And if you're not like super worried about sending your kid to the absolute best school, then yeah. Review on the iPhone XS and XR. I haven't got my hands on a XS to review it. I didn't end up buying it because when I looked at it and compared it to my iPhone X, I didn't really see that big a change. I mean, the cameras are better, processor a bit better, but I'd probably go for the iPhone XS Max if I did. But I'm really curious to see what the XR is. I'm trying to get a hold of it from one of my friends who might be buying it, just to do a review for the YouTube channel. So hopefully that should be coming soon. Mohammed Karim asked, benefits of owning a property in the UAE. So the benefit of owning a property in the UAE is, one is that you can get a visa of the property. So you don't need to be employed in Dubai. You can get a residence visa and live in Dubai just on the strength of owning a property. I think if your value of your property is over $1 million. The other thing about owning property in Dubai is that the return, like the rental yield, is pretty high compared to other places in the world. Like, so for example, in India, you'd be lucky to get 1% of the value of a property as rent. In Dubai, you get about 5 to 6% as return on your rent, a return on the value of your property. So that's pretty good. Also, you're protected against inflation, I guess. So, if you buy a property, that's pretty much anywhere in the world. If you buy a property, after 10, 15 years, as inflation increases and rents increase, you won't be affected. Your installments will be the same. Those are the main benefits. I mean, owning a property is kind of different. Like, mentally, you feel differently about like when it's your own house, you bought it, you'll spend differently on doing it up. Maybe you'll, install wood flooring, or you'll do up the house a bit nicer because you own it and you know that you're going to be there for a while, versus renting something. Which school did I go to? I went to a modern high school in Dubai, which is, so first I went to Dubai Scholars, which was O-level school, which was a UK syllabus, and it was very multinational. So it had Indian kids, it had Arab kids, it had Western kids, it had everybody. And it was also, girls and boys. We were in separate classes, but we were like right next to each other. And then I moved to Modern High School, which was a day boarding system, first of all. So you used to go to school in the morning and then leave by 5 in the evening. And you'd have like school till 1 o'clock, then you'd have lunch in school, and then you'd have like an hour of homework time. So you could finish your homework in school, and then you'd have like an hour of extracurricular activities. And it was a premium school, it was more expensive. It was probably one of the top rated Indian schools in Dubai, private schools, and it was segmented. Boys were separate, girls were separate, and but it was a really good school. Like even now, like the toppers, like I remember out of our class, we had two people who topped all of India in ICSE. Like it was insane. Like the quality of students that we used to get in Modern High School was really high, and the kind of extracurricular activities also, like we used to dominate in sports and stuff as well. Salary of a CA, I don't really know, bro, how much a CA makes, but I would guess it depends on which company you would be in. So, accountants in a multinational company or a large organization will definitely make more. But I would say I would try to maybe a range would be like 7,000 to like 15,000, maybe something like that. Is housing allowance usually restricted to the emirate you are working in? I know that that's company specific, but do you have any idea? So that's a question by Karan. So yes, I know that Abu Dhabi has some laws where if you're working in Abu Dhabi and you get a housing allowance, you need to use that housing allowance inside Abu Dhabi. You can't like stay in Dubai and work in Abu Dhabi, I think. That's just, I remember I was considering taking a job in Abu Dhabi, and that was one of the things that was a concern, because I wanted to commute and not live in Abu Dhabi, but but I'm not exactly sure about that. But usually your housing allowance will just come as part of your salary. You'll either some employers give a lump sum, so they'll give you your whole housing allowance at the beginning of the year, because a lot of landlords expect you to pay in like one paycheck or two paychecks. If you pay in less paychecks, you get a better rate. So they'll say, oh, if you're paying in one paycheck, then it's rent is 60,000. If you're paying in two checks, it's going to be 62,000. And if you're paying in four checks, it's 65,000. So usually paying in lump sum is cheaper. So some employers give it that way. Rahul Suresh asks, what do you think Apple is going to launch on October 30th? New iPads and MacBook Air refresh. That's what I've heard. And maybe a new Mac Mini as well. But so they're going to have like iPads that are like bezel-less. Kind of like the new iPhone 10 design with Face ID. That's what I've heard at least. What job you do? I work on ajarcar.com, dude. Archit Pandit says, pros and cons of importing electronics from Dubai to India. I don't know if you mean importing as in like as a business, or whether you mean importing as in like buying electronics in Dubai and taking it back to India. Because if you're talking about that, then you do save on tax and you do save on the price as well. The prices in Dubai are a bit cheaper compared to what you get in India. For electronics, especially Apple products and stuff. I know Apple products like the iPhone is crazy expensive in India. If you buy it here, you'll save like 30% or something. Any thoughts on rent to own listings or listings which offer 5% down payment instead of the minimum 25%? Yeah, so Karan's asking this question. So in case you guys don't know, there are some property developers over here which are offering schemes like this where you can rent to own. And what that is like you pay rent for the first, say, 5 years. And that rent might be slightly higher than market rate rent. and then at the end of the 5 years, you have the option to utilize whatever rent you paid towards a down payment. So, instead of like maybe you don't have the 20% that you need, like 200,000 dirhams to buy a million dirham property to put as down payment, or actually it's 25%, 250,000 down. So you pay rent for 5 years, and then at the end of 5 years, you have the option to either buy the property, so utilize the rent that you paid for the last 5 years in order to put that as a down payment, or give back the property. I think it's a good option if you are cash strapped, if you don't have the capital to invest in property. It's a good option, but just make sure that the calculations work out correctly in your favor, and that you're not paying too much over the market rate, because some of these deals I've seen, you probably are spending like 10% over market rate. So yes, they give you the flexibility to with your down payment, but you end up paying for that indirectly. Another thing that they were asking is about a 5% down payment instead of a minimum of 25%. So the 5% down payment is actually like a installment scheme directly from the developer. So they will give you a title deed by paying 5% right now. It's usually for off-land properties. That means the construction is not ready yet. So they'll say, okay, give 5% now. And then once the property is ready, then you give us the rest of the money, which is fine. It's good because the property market's a little down right now. You're getting good deals like that. Developers are trying to sell their units, and they're giving good installment facilities. You're saving on interest, so it's not a bad thing. Is there any scope of electronic job? You mean electrical, or I don't know what exactly you're asking. Getting the new Pixel 3, I'm probably getting a review unit to make a video about it. So I'm trying to get my hands on a Pixel 3. Are you guys interested to see a Pixel 3 review? I mean, I don't see anything particularly great about the Pixel 3 apart from maybe the camera. Any opportunity in civil department? Yeah, there's lots of civil jobs out here, bro. There's lots of construction going on, fabrication work, all that kind of stuff. What's Samsung new mobile? What is Dubai ASAD visa? I don't know. Anyway, guys, I think... Oh, Mamta's on the live stream. Hey, babe. So I think that's it for this video. It's 8 o'clock. I don't want it to go over an hour again. So thank you guys for all the questions. I hope that you guys learned something out of this. I will be doing more episodes of Living in Dubai soon. I want to do one about like education in Dubai, because lots of people ask me about college in Dubai, like whether studying out here is a good option, about the quality of schools out here. So I've gone through the schools and colleges out here, so I'm not so well aware about what's currently happening, but I know what I'll do a little bit of research and I'll do a video about that. So that's it for this live stream, guys. Thanks for jumping on here. It's always good to chat with you guys. If you're watching this in the rerun, I know it's getting saved on YouTube, so if you're watching it on a rerun, please hit that like button, leave me a comment. Maybe I'll get some ideas about episodes of Living in Dubai to do in the future, and subscribe to watch more videos like this, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.